So I got this cylinder pretty much ready to come out. We still got to put some work in on it. I'm waiting on the seals to come in. I'll get that gland off of there. We'll take that out. I had to go buy a 2 5/8. I needed a 63 millimeter. At the 2 5/8, since it's a deep well socket. 1-inch drive, but it only had a 3/4, so I put my adapter on it and we'll roll with it from there. I'm accumulating these big sockets. As things break down, I need to get in there and make the repair. So I got onesies and twosies. So these cylinders are a pain when they start leaking. This crowd cylinder, it's a cylinder that's inside of here. That one right here was a doozy because of its location. It only got such a narrow clearance to maneuver that out of there. But it was done. The wife and I, we got that done with the children. That was probably about a year or so ago. And then once we got that together, then this one had gave up the ghost. This is something I probably should have tried to tackle. My cylinder shop, they do a good job, but at the same time, it does add up. It accumulates pretty fast, especially as these things keep having occurrences. So this cylinder was rebuilt at one point. I don't think I've done this one, but I think that one was done. Let me see here.
Why on here?
And I know I did this one because it got fresh paint on it. And one of these here, I think it was this one that we had knocked out. So that was quite a bit of cylinders. And knock on wood, I still got quite a few more cylinders on this machine. So I decided to try to tackle this project. Basically, it would be a lot easier if I was able to have a seal kit, or when I go try to get the it told me the diameter or the metrics or whatever, the piston itself. That way we can have replacement seals. But anyway, I'm trying to keep this machine running. It has very low hours and it's a strong machine. So anyway, that's where we are. We had replaced these. We just did that recently. Then this was the next weak point, so then this was the next set to blow out. So we're not going to do a deep seal change if we don't have to, but it's usually right here at these rod seals. So we're going to approach that. I made a tool to take that off. Got to get all this stuff loosened up, and I'm losing sunlight, so I'm gonna try my best to get this going. I should be able to get this without dismantling all this stuff here. This is the FT 110 Fiat Alice that was absorbed by New Holland. So this is a good backhoe. Pretty young machine, under 2,000 hours on it. It's a workhorse. I need this up and running. This can get as low as 17 feet 8 inches on the dig. I got a pretty large capacity bucket here. Put some lube around this stuff to break that stuff loose, get the tools, and then we'll get going. Hopefully we can capture some of this before nighttime. Even if it do get night, I'll just probably bring a big light, but we'll go ahead and knock this out because I need this up and running. All these right here, 1, 2, and 3, these are good piston seals. We'll leave that alone. That should be okay. Be careful not to heat it up. I don't want to distort that seal, but those seals are good there. See that piston up? That's where all the trouble is. It's all in here. Those are blown out. We're gonna put the new ones in. My oldest son helped me out with this here. Couldn't have did this job without him, because it was times I needed him to hold the big channel locks right here. I had a pin and I had to pop that pin in. Had to hit it with a hammer. Well, a big hammer. So anyway, it's times where that pin gets it just won't flow. It gets stuck, you know. It's real nice and tight. So what I did, I used the bottle jack to a certain point, put the pin here, and the bottle jack jacked it up. Actually got the machine never got off the ground, but it did lift up. So then I had to be careful to, you know, hit that or hit this around here where I can get it to fall in place. That finally did get it. You know, so anyway, we got the seals on. That was the most important thing. We had lost our daylight, so couldn't get that record on all of that. But like I said, it was just the rod seals. The piston seals had looked good. The rod seals had blown out, so you're gonna damage it getting it out because it's seated in there real nice and good. all that was chewed up. It was no longer doing what it needed to do. And then you had this one right here. That one was pretty bad. So right in here you can see where it's like starting to crack. And then of course this one is just pretty brittle. So these 3 seals rectify, it will rectify a leak, you know. So hopefully if you don't have anything like the piston seals, that you got to go deeper into it. So anyway, I got it all out, got it all back together. Had to make that tool, put on that spinner wrench. That was a bit because with that new seals in there, it's kind of hard to spin that, you know, that front nut to get it back connected, to get it threaded. But anyway, we was able to do it. You know, just put a little pressure on there. I think I put pressure on that rod. I just had to pop the pin out and move the rod out a little bit. And then what I did was I put a bungee, a ratchet strap within that space there, and then I found that space there, so I was always able to have some pressure pulling up against this. And I just kept spinning that, and finally it did catch. And that was probably about 20, well, what felt like 25 rotations to finally get that washer, a metal washer with a certain spring in it, and it has to, you know, sit within that groove. So anyway, that's all rectified and taken care of. I topped off the fluid, greased up the grease fittings,